Hi, this is Frode, here to help you self-actualize, and in this video we'll be exploring Socrates by Paul Johnson. Alright, Socrates by Paul Johnson. Subtitle, A Man for Our Times. Paul Johnson is an acclaimed historian who is the best-selling author of books like Darwin, Mozart, Napoleon, and Jesus. All books that I plan on reading myself. Bought all of them. And in the biography of Socrates, he does a really good job at giving us a fresh look at who Socrates was as a man, his opinions, and how he led his life. I find biographies really great to help me expand my vision and increase my courage in really going for the things that I find valuable and worthwhile to pursue in life. So if you like biographies yourself, and especially if you like practical philosophy that you can apply to your own life, I believe you'll love the book. Socrates is really an inspiring person and so committed to pursuing the truth that, it's just a wonderful book. And in this video you'll be learning about 5 big ideas that I found in the book. You'll be learning who Socrates was, what we can get out of learning to question ourselves and others, whether you can get wisdom from others, whether people can actually give you wisdom, why you need to study philosophy, and lastly, whether revenge is something that you want to act on in your life. So for the first big idea is who was Socrates? Well, he was, as you might have known, a really famous ancient philosopher who lived in Athens during the 5th century BC. It's a bit unclear what he did during his childhood, but what's most people agree on is that he was a soldier, and a really admirable soldier. He had a great endurance and courage, especially. Because he could walk, he was said to could walk barefoot on the snow during the winter while they were marching. The troops were marching to war. And once when his friend Alcibiades, I think, was wounded in battle, and 2 people were going to kill him, Socrates stood over his friend and defended him. And when those enemies could see the sick gaze in Socrates' eyes and his determination, they figured out that it was best not to disturb this guy. So they turned around, and Socrates basically saved the life of his friend. Then, as you know, he was a philosopher who was really good at questioning. He questioned himself and others constantly, trying to get really to the root of things, which we'll talk more about in the next big idea. Many people got very annoyed at Socrates for doing this, and eventually he was put up for a charge and committed to, he was, what is it called? When you must die for something. When you commit a wrong or something, and you are, put to death, basically. Because Socrates believed that there was one God and not many, like the others believed in ancient Greece, and he was charged with corrupting the youth. He was actually helping the youth think for themselves instead of just act on the hand-me-down knowledge that had been given by their forefathers. And Socrates either had the option to quit philosophizing and questioning so many people, and dying by hemlock. And of course, as you know, he drank the hemlock and rather would stand uncompromisingly by his principles and died for his ideals, which is one of the things that makes him so inspiring. That's a really quick look at Socrates. Let's look at our second big idea, which is, what is the power of questioning? Socrates, as we mentioned, was really good at questioning. And what is it really about, if you think of it? What is the purpose of questioning? Have you ever thought about that? Well, I would say it's something like wanting to get to the root of things, not being satisfied with superficial impressions about what you think a thing means or what something is. You want to really get to the causes of the effects you see everywhere around you. And effects can be people's reactions to what you say or to events that happen. And yeah, so that's a bit about what it is. Really using questioning to get to the root of something, a specific concept or an idea or effect. Then, what are some of the benefits of questioning? Well, the most important benefits I find are two. It helps you increase your self-awareness, because you can, but only if you choose to question your values, beliefs, your assumptions, things you just hold to be true, whether you haven't thought about it or not. That the sky is round, for example, which you haven't never seen with your own eyes from space, most likely. So you also increase your self-awareness by looking into the ideals that you have, how you see yourself as a person, your habits, the actions that you take, and really trying to get to the source. What is really lying behind this action? What is really lying behind this behavior or feeling? Another benefit of questioning is that it allows you to start thinking for yourself. I've actually not learned this before this last month, after I started studying the book of Not Knowing by Frode Osen, which is all about exploring the depths of mind, consciousness, and reality itself through contemplation, questioning deeply. And I understood the book of Socrates more after reading the book of Not Knowing. So, benefit of questioning: think for yourself instead of being so reliant on the knowledge, like you see here, and having that decide what you believe and what you think is true or not, to instead investigate matters for yourself. So what are some, that helps you think for yourself, which we are all happy about telling ourselves that we are. Yes, I'm thinking for myself, and most other people are not. They're so stupid. But this one actually helps you to think for yourself, since you are personally investigating the causes and questioning so deeply that you're getting insights from yourself, and not something outside of you, like a book, a teacher, or a friend. Then, how do you actually question? It's very basic. You need to have an open mind of experiencing or getting to know something that you previously didn't know. Then you can just choose what you want to question. For example, what is reading? Seems pretty basic, doesn't it? Reading is you're basically gliding your eyes through a page, assimilating the knowledge to get information into your mind. But if you want to look more deeply, what is reading? What is the purpose of reading? Purpose of reading. Never really thought about that. I just wanted to read. Perhaps learn to speed read. But the purpose? Yeah, of course, it's the information that we want to gather. But a deeper purpose might actually be finding information that I can act on. It's a really big separation there between most people's idea of reading to get information and actually acting on that information. It's a crucial step. I've learned from reading 200 books these last 4 years that it doesn't really change your life much if you read books but don't plan on taking any action. You'll just find many fascinating ideas that trigger your mind, and you like them a lot, and oh, you want to talk about them to your friends, but then you don't act on any of them and add them to your life. So other questions to what is reading might be, what is a proper reading technique? How do I read to find that what I take action on? Then we're starting to get really serious here, because then you can get into all different ways that you already find true for yourself or reasonable of reading well. Well, if I actually have a specific goal in mind when I'm going to read a book, like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, then I would go straight for that goal, wouldn't I? Instead of reading the whole book and all the information that doesn't give me the answer that I want. Another question could be, what is a relationship? Yeah, perhaps it's something like the two people who spend time together, or who are often together and connecting. But what is the purpose of a relationship? At the deepest level, what's the purpose? From the bottom of my mind, it seems to be something like social survival. We need to have others around us in order to gather the food we need, the resource we need to achieve our goals and be happy, I believe. So that's why we seek out relationships, because we basically need it to survive. Throw us out into the woods and we wouldn't be off too well. And these are just examples of how you yourself can start questioning what you're really curious about. And I like questioning concepts in one word. For example, what is reading? What is relationships? What is affirmations? What is the earth? What is whatever? And because that makes it really clear for you what's the one thing that you're wondering about. And then you can start questioning more deeply, more deeply, more deeply, feel into what feels most true for you, and then you can be able to act on that information, which was already in your mind. Perhaps you got it from somewhere else before, but now you're really empowering yourself to take action on it through your own efforts. So that's questioning. The power of questioning helps you increase your self-awareness, become more aware of your own motivations, motives, beliefs, actions, habits, feelings, and it helps you think independently, which is a really fascinating thing when you actually start questioning things that you're wondering about. Whatever, when taking a walk, taking a nap, perhaps not if you're falling asleep though. But yeah, you can do it. Questioning. Third big idea is why study philosophy? Why should you study philosophy? Do you think it's to become better at thinking so you can give better arguments and win debates and discussions? Is it so you can learn about these esoteric topics that none of your friends know about so you can seem smart? Or is it something else? Socrates is known for having been one of Socrates is known for having brought philosophy down from the skies and the heavens and thinking about all the stars and things outside and down into the towns, where he distributed philosophy among the people so they could actually apply it to their own lives to improve themselves and live happier lives. So, what is philosophy if we think about the definition? One common definition is that philosophy is the love of wisdom, the meaning of the word. That you love wisdom that is practical for becoming a better person, more virtuous, better for the society, and also to become happier. So, philosophy, not in the academic sense, but in the real world sense, is that it's here for us so we can learn about the opinions of the wisest people who have lived, see what's true for ourselves, and really dive into our own minds and improve our lives. Philosophy is to improve our lives, ourselves. Then what are some of the benefits of doing philosophy? We have already touched upon some of them. It's you'll get better at thinking for yourself. You're not relying too much on conventional ideas in society that we're living in right now that gets pushed upon us from every edge as we're reading news, being with friends, hanging out on parties, we are watching movies. All of these things have ideas, opinions, values, and beliefs and assumptions that seep into our own minds. But with philosophy, we can take a bigger picture look at what are the things that people do in their lives when they live happily. What are the things people do when they live miserably? Well, when they live happily, they pursue virtue, becoming better people, knowledge, education, thinking for themselves, self-awareness. When they do not pursue philosophy, or people who are unhappy mostly are those who don't pursue personal improvement. They just stagnate in the place they are. They pursue way too much sex, money, drugs, alcohol. They might pursue too many relationships that makes them just superficial. They're not feeling really close ties to people, which is really important. So, we need to be wise to listen to those people who have thought about something, how to live well, for decades of their lives, and then share that in books and articles and all of these things, so we can see what we can use for ourselves. Well, that's up to you to decide. So to give you a quick head start, if you want to start pursuing practical philosophy that you can use in your own life to live better, then I have a few books that I want to recommend to you. Because I really love studying philosophy. Those three books are Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor philosopher. Actually, one of the most powerful people who have lived. And he wrote this diary where he did his philosophical exercises to become a better man. So that's Meditations. Really beautiful language in it, and I read the book 4 times. And will keep on reading it once a year for the rest of my life, I believe. Second book is Enchiridion. It's written Enchiridion, and it's by Epictetus. That Epictetus was actually a slave who turned into an influential philosopher, who was one of the biggest influences on Marcus Aurelius. And that's a fascinating combination between former slave, one of the biggest influences on one of the most powerful people in the world, the Roman emperor. So that was back about 2,000 years ago. And for a contemporary philosopher, we have Ryan Holiday with his book, The Daily Stoic, 365 meditations on art, on living, I think is the subtitle. So those 365 meditations, Ryan has actually pulled from the ancient Stoics, who were not these glum and boring people who try to repress all of their emotions, which is the common notion of the word, but rather they were trying to think about how they could lessen the negative emotions and increase the positive ones. They were actually quite cheerful types and humorous. So Ryan has gathered 365 quotes, passages from these Stoics, and he had written 1 page each day for the 365-day year, where he is simplifying and explaining what each of the passages mean, so you can start taking action on it in your own life. And it's a really good introduction to practical philosophy. So I recommend one of those books, Meditations, Enchiridion, or The Daily Stoic. So that's why to study philosophy. To see what others who came before us, who some of the wisest people on earth thought, so we might use that to improve ourselves. Next big idea is... you might be noticing that I'm taking a few pauses when I'm thinking about the next ideas. The reason is that I'm actually not reading off of any manuscript. Might need to start doing that, but yeah, I find mind mapping really powerful in itself. Just writing these few concepts and being able to speak from that, because we know so much about just one word, like life, that we can speak about it forever. So anyway, the fourth big idea is, can somebody give wisdom to you? The short answer is no. Let's dive into it, since it's so fascinating. Socrates, Paul Johnson, the author of the book, talks about how Socrates saw himself as a midwife. You know, these women who help with the childbirth and pull the little creatures out. He saw himself like one of those. And what that means is that he couldn't give wisdom to someone more than he could birth a child himself. He could only help the process. And that's by questioning people. Really painful questions that go to the deepest values and fears and beliefs, and challenges them to confront them head on, to really understand themselves better, in order to uncover the wisdom that is already within the person. Socrates can only help to uncover that, but he can't give anyone wisdom. And in the same way, I can't give you any wisdom from talking about these ideas. I can only give you thoughts, I can give you ideas, can give you concepts for how you can live a good life. But as I often mention, I want you to look into the idea that most resonates with you, which really motivates you and fires you up to take some action, which you really believe will have the most impact on your life. Even picking the one best idea from one of these videos and acting on it, or just buying the book yourself, is really powerful. So you can't really get wisdom from anyone. You must look for it yourself. And how do you do this? Well, it's very much done through questioning. When somebody tells you that you should do this or should do that, which is very painful, and we don't want to do something just people just tell us we must, you can ask for yourself, well, is what this person is saying true for me? Does this make sense? Have I seen it in my own experience? And we can just ask, is this something that I want to know more about or experience? We can start an investigation to gain wisdom, which is practical experience of all of these ideas we're speaking about. And that's way more powerful than just reading about it or hearing it from somebody else. Experience must always go zigzag or go alternate with knowledge. You learn something, fires you up, you gotta act on it, or else the imbalance will become so big that it's hard to really apply anything to your life, because you have all of these great, amazing ideas, but you don't find anything that you can use right now. You don't choose to use it right now, at least. So that's a quick look at the idea that we can't get wisdom from someone, but we must look within, as always. Think independently, see what's true for us, experience what we want to use to improve our lives. So the fifth big idea, the last one, is, here we are again, that's is it right to take revenge? First, let's look into and investigate what is revenge. What is revenge for you in the most simple terms? Well, I would say that it's something like somebody harms us through an insult or a physical action, and we do the same to them. That's revenge. And we most commonly want to give an extra dosage of whatever harm they have done to us. But what are some of the problems of taking revenge? Have you ever thought about that? What actually happens? Isn't it true that when you think about taking revenge and you're brooding and ruminating about it and think about all the plans that you're going to take to harm this other person, or you just impulsively insult the other person immediately, that it doesn't really feel better afterwards. You feel kind of bad about yourself. Or, yeah, it doesn't really resolve anything, does it? And what would the world really be like if somebody killed your child, your family member, your partner, or one of your parents accidentally or on purpose, and you had to take revenge, so you would kill their partner or child or parent? What would the world look like if it was like that? It wouldn't be a very good place to live in, would it? And even the smallest ways of, if somebody steals from you and you choose to steal from somebody else and justify that, just, yeah, he stole from me, so it's okay for me to steal from them. Well, doesn't that make you a stealer? Does that make anything better? Or is it just compounding this habit of yours to keep reacting emotionally to what other people do and what happens in your life? Always having to take revenge. Well, if you're starting to consider to stop taking revenge when that person insults your project, an opinion you have, or how you look, your boss criticizes your works and you react by doing worse work, or you lash out at a family member when they insult you. are you starting to get more prone to just relaxing? I mean, letting go of the hurt. So what are some of the benefits of not taking revenge? The most obvious one is peace of mind, since we're not thinking of all of these people that we have to take revenge on and get back at. Another one is emotional mastery, since you're not acting just like a puppet on a string that bounces off and gets impacted by all the circumstances, but you are instead able to calm yourself down. And another benefit is that people will really start to respect you if they see that you're getting insulted by someone, or somebody is actually hitting you physically, and you are calming yourself down, and you don't do anything back to them. They're going to start really respecting you for that, because you have that emotional mastery. So that's a quick look at the idea of, is revenge right or not? I can't tell you anything to force you, but you need to figure out for yourself. That's a quick look at 5 of my favorite big ideas from Socrates by Paul Johnson. Let's have a quick review of each idea and really see if there's something that we can take action on here before we wrap up our chat. So the 5th big idea was, is revenge right or not? That's for you to decide. 4th big idea was, can someone give you knowledge? Wisdom. Can someone give you wisdom, or do you have to get it for yourself? Well, you need to experience things for yourself and look into what's true in your own mind, instead of just taking the hand-me-down knowledge for granted. 3rd big idea was, why study philosophy? And the main reason was to figure out what to pursue in life that's worthwhile and makes you happy, and what not to pursue that's not worthwhile but seems pleasurable in the moment but won't make you happy. Then we have, I recommended the books Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Enchiridion by Epictetus, and The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. I have book reviews of all of them actually, so you can check them out if you want to, before deciding whether to buy a book or not. 2nd big idea was, what's the power of questioning all about? Is it something we can use? The main benefits were increasing your self-awareness of your actions, feelings, and your thoughts, and thinking more independently, not being so reliant on sources outside of yourself, your family, friends, teachers, other students who are telling you what to do and what not to do. You are able to see it for yourself and question and investigate these ideas and concepts deeply. The last big idea, the first big idea was, who was Socrates? For me, he is one of the most inspiring people who have ever lived, with his uncompromising principles to do the right thing, even if it cost him his life. And he is a really good example of how to teach well, which is not to try to impart wisdom in someone and force somebody to do something, but instead create the conditions for them to uncover what's already within, to question people instead of to give them statements and opinions and demands. So which is the idea that resonated most with you? And what is the most simple action you can take on this right now, or this week, or this month, to apply that idea to your life? Or what's one great insight you had from watching this video? I'll be happy to know, and please share it in the comment section, and I'll be happy to follow up with you. So that's it. Our video is coming to a completion. Please like the video, share it with some friends who might also like this book and the ideas. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and have a look at my other videos, which include topics like purpose, creativity, self-mastery, relationships, and a bunch of other topics, which I'm constantly updating and creating new videos. You can look at the playlists on YouTube, and it's really important for you to stick with me here, because it's when you have a commitment to be on this journey of self-actualization, of growing to become the best person you can become for yourself and others. It's a really long journey. I'm starting to realize it's actually a lifelong journey that you have to be on and stick to. But it's really easy to fall off track if you don't have friends or family or resources like these videos to constantly feed your mind with good ideas for personal growth. So yeah, and then it's easy to fall down into despondency and just living a life on the more surface level instead of going deeply into your highest potential. So that's a quick look at the ideas we talked about. And next, this Sunday, I will be sharing a book recommendation on the Book of Not Knowing, which is, I really had fun diving into this one, taking a lot of notes, reading it 2 times actually, doing all the exercises. And the Book of Not Knowing is all about expanding your consciousness, becoming more aware of yourself and reality. Big stuff, and it's really deep. Can't wait to share it. Okay, hope you'll have a good day, and I'll see you later for more. See ya.